Hello and welcome to another video. This one we're going to be talking about the Action Comics, which stars Superman, and they'll be from the 1970s primarily. The last time I stopped at issue number 400, so we're going to pick up there from 400 to around 450 or so. We'll see how long this video is. Anyway, thank you again for viewing these videos. I see that there were people here who really did enjoy looking at old Action Comics, old Superman comics from back in the day. So I thought I'd show you some more from my collection. Now, I believe the last time we stopped at issue number 400, so we'll start there again on this time. Here is issue 400. The price is 15 cents, and it asks the question, my son, is he man or beast? So I don't remember this one really, honestly, I don't remember this one much, even though it's a 400th anniversary issue. Now, as I said before in the last comic, after this time, starting with issue 500, I think I have a couple of the 100 landmark issues, and they really do play them up more. This one, I think, was just an ordinary story that happened to land in issue 400. It's not a double issue or anything like that. So that's issue 400. Now, issue 401 and 402, I remember this particular storyline pretty well. It says, superhero becomes supervillain and invader go home. Now, you'd have to read the entire comic. Of course, as you can see, it deals with a First Nation tribe, but it really, it portrays them sympathetically. It doesn't really have them as the bad guys or in any kind of a stereotypical way. And Superman is kind of playing along with them because, if I remember correctly, they were being mistreated by some people who wanted to take their land. And Superman, actually, he's not really captured. I mean, they didn't overpower Superman, but if I remember correctly, he's playing along with them. But the cover is really eye-catching. And then issue 402, when he says, when Superman is saying that his powers are gone and it looks like they're going to burn him at the stake, again, if I remember correctly, they were just, Superman was playing along with the First Nation. I think the chief of the First Nation especially. And again, remember how I mentioned that during this time period there was a backup story which usually featured Supergirl. We're coming towards the end of the Supergirl backup stories because Supergirl goes to Adventure Comics, and the backup story, if I remember correctly, it went to Green Arrow from here. I could be wrong about that though. Anyway, that's issue 402. So that's 400 and 402. Now, here with issue number 403, the comics get more expensive. They go from 15 cents to 25 cents, but the page one vastly increases. I think they're 48 pages, if I'm not mistaken. So this one was a pretty good one. Again, though, this is a little misleading. I guess I'm going to give away a little. I should mention there are spoilers in this video because I'm assuming you probably haven't read these comics, or if you have, you've already read them. If you haven't, it'll be pretty hard to get these comics. They're 50 years old or more. But if I remember correctly, I'm sorry, this is issue 404. I guess I'm missing 403. But this scientist here who looks evil. He's actually, this particular person was a villain, and he is stealing Superman's powers one by one, and if I remember correctly, the scientist was actually forced to do it. He's not an evil person, and if I remember correctly, I think the scientist, or maybe Superman, I forget who, but they trick this guy here into taking all of the powers at once, which causes an overload, and in order to not be overloaded, Superman takes the powers back. But unfortunately, he takes the man's mental abilities and powers as well, so he becomes a vegetable at the end of it, as opposed to being a regular strong man. I guess it's a cautionary tale about wanting too much. And as you can see, the backstory, not the backstories, the side stories, I suppose, in addition to the primary story, there's multiple ones. The main story didn't become any larger, I don't think, but there are just more secondary stories. The day they killed Clark Kent, which I don't remember anything about off the top of my head, and the Atom and Aquaman are actually the side heroes and the side stories. Actually, both of them become side stories much later. This was around 1970. Around 1980, they, along with the Airwave, alternated in the side stories for Action Comics. I think this was 1970 or so, because if I remember correctly, this was also around the time that Clark Kent left the Daily Planet, and he instead is a part of GBS, Global Broadcasting Systems, I think it was called. So rather than being a reporter, the way Clark Kent was from the 30s onward, he becomes a television newscaster, which was a pretty big deal at the time, because they didn't, they changed that, I think, for a whole decade or so. And they wanted to become more modern, because they thought, well, kids don't read newspapers, but they may see the news. It's pretty cool. And Lana Lang, she also becomes a newscaster as well. Yes, exactly. Here we go. You see, Morgan Edge is Clark Kent's boss, and he has the news van, and he goes on location and actually videos the news, which was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool idea. And this was September 1971, so still before I was born. But these comics, again, I was collecting them maybe a decade after this, so they weren't really that expensive. Just ignore the prices that are on the plastics. I just picked up plastics and covers, boards, to put the comics in, and they might have been priced with something else. But I probably got this maybe for like 75 cents, $1 at the time. So it wasn't that expensive. And again, in 1971 to maybe 1981 or so, that's only 10 years. But now this comic is over 50 years old. I don't know what it's worth, and it probably isn't worth all that much. These comics aren't really that valuable, but I just enjoy reading them. I mentioned this in the last video as well. I enjoy the fact that the stories in these comics are not very violent. They're not meant to be taken too seriously. They're not dark or anything like that, the way a lot of comic books are today. So that's issue 404. I'm going to keep it moving because we're already at the 7-minute mark. Next is issue number 405. Oh, I remember this one as well. So I forget. I think it was the president, perhaps. I forget who it was, but there was an assassin that was going to assassinate the president, I believe, and Superman was going to was going to stay there and bodyguard the president. And there's an ending that's like a trick ending, like a surprise reveal at the end. I remember that. I don't remember exactly what it involves. I think that the president was actually like a crook. I mean, not the president himself, but I think that there was a crook impersonating the president, and Superman knew that. I believe. It's been a while since I read these, so don't quote me on that exactly. And the backup stories of these, I don't remember what they are at all. So, Aquaman and the Vigilante. Most dangerous bug in the world. That actually seems like something I'd be interested in, and I would have remembered. But I don't remember it off the top of my head right now. But that's issue 405. Next we have issue number 406. I don't remember much about this one at all. So, again, but it's still at the 48 pages, as I said before. It didn't say that earlier, but here it actually says 48 pages. I remember that they were 48 pages. The price went up to 25 cents and then went back down when the DC implosion happened, and and they just went to regular comics again. Issue number 408. Okay, I don't remember. I have a vague idea about this comic, but I don't remember much about it, so I'm not going to misquote the story and be wrong. I haven't read these comics in quite some time, as I said before, so seeing the covers are kind of cool because I haven't even looked at them in a while. Issue number 409. Okay, I don't know what's happening here either. I don't remember off the top of my head. Seems pretty cool though. Next is issue number 411. Oh, The Fortress of Solitude. So, before the Crisis, the reboot, Superman had the Fortress of Solitude, which was kind of like in the Christopher Reeve movies, except rather than it being a crystal kind of like lattice, it was basically a big iceberg that was hollow, and Superman used this giant key to unlock it. I'm trying to remember. If I remember correctly, I think there were surveyors that were on the North Pole, and Superman was worried that they'd find this fortress. I don't think they actually did find it. I don't remember exactly how this worked, but this cover is misleading. They weren't like right outside the way they were here, I'm pretty sure. So that's issue 411. Next is issue number 412. Oh, and I remember this. Where basically it's explaining that in the past there was a metropolis where the city of Metropolis is now, and there were humanoids that were living there, and they all died out, if I remember correctly, or they left the planet. I forget which one. 412. Now, here we are. Issue number 415 goes back to 20 cents, but the size of the comic is back to the normal size. I have a vague remembrance of this, but I don't really remember much of what's happening here. Oh, I remember the next one, though. Issue number 416. So this girl here, this lady, she has it's like a somatic that she's in a wheelchair, because when Superboy was young, when Superman was young, Superboy, and this girl was a very little girl. Her house was on fire, and her doll was, Superboy saved her, but didn't save her doll, and she loved the doll so much that in her mind, she couldn't move her legs. I remember correctly with that, there was some kind of, like, they run into Clark Kent is flying a plane, and she's in it, and the plane crashes, and they're in a dome that's run by aliens, and she likes Clark Kent, but she hates Superman, so Superman has kind of a time saving her because of that. Issue number 417. Oh, I don't remember much about this one. A vague remembrance of it. I don't remember, honestly. I think the Superman, the Revenge Squad, I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember exactly what happens here, but it looks like it's missing a little bit of the cover, so. Oh, I remember this next one. Action Comics number 418. I think it's the Superman robots that were, somehow, they were reprogrammed to attack Superman when he entered the Fortress of Solitude. The robots are kind of used sometimes to, like, do minor jobs when Superman's busy, or to maybe even to impersonate Superman flying by, so that Clark Kent can, be in the same place as Superman, so it didn't look too obvious that people didn't realize that he was Clark Kent. Okay, this is I like this comic cover, actually. To me, it looks it could look retro, like older than the 70s, but it also could look new, I don't know what comics look like today, so I can't say that, but it just looks like it could be at almost any time. But, of course, it looks like, too, that they superimposed artwork of Superman on the background of a black and white photo of New York City. I don't know if that's exactly what they did to make this cover or not, but it looks pretty cool. And I don't remember anything about the story, actually, especially since there's no giveaway in the cover of the comic. So, issue number 420, I think I'm going to stop here. But I don't remember much about this one either. Like I said, I haven't looked at these comics in quite some time. But I'm hoping you're enjoying this stroll down memory lane with me. I'm going to make another video soon. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.